All right, all right. Looks like we are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. It is another Friday. All right, let's make sure we're streaming. We're streaming on. Make sure that's good. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitch. So we are doing our thing, multi-streaming. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Heat Check live stream beat review show. I'm your host, Desmond A. I want to give a special thank you and special shout out to all the producers who submitted their tracks to the Heat Check show. We have a nice lineup. You know, last week wasn't too many people. This week it looks like you guys wanted to bum rush and get your beats reviewed, and that's just how it goes. There's a lot of ups and downs, you know, when it comes to the beat reviews, especially on a Friday night. So I want to give a special shout out and thank you to all the producers showing up on this Friday night to get your beats reviewed. Okay, so who am I? What is this show? So once again, this is the Heat Check live beat review show, hosted right here on YouTube primarily. Desmond A Sounds on YouTube, DesmondASounds.com to get all your patcher plugins, loops, free guides, everything like that. So who am I? My name is Desmond A. I'm a producer based out of Atlanta. Been producing music for well over 12 years now. I always say 12 years, but it's been longer than that. Produced music for different networks such as Bravo, E-Television, Sci-Fi Channel, different documentaries. It's worked with plenty of different recording artists as a producer and also as a recording engineer. You can call me recording engineer, producer who happens to record. Those lines can be blurred at times, but yeah, you know, definitely sold beats online. Work with independent artists in the studio, which is probably one of the most rewarding things, is to actually work with a recording artist in person, face to face. It's nothing like it. So yeah, that's just a little rundown on who I am and why I'm qualified to give you this feedback. Shout out to the chat, just to give you guys a little bit of insight on the format of the Heat Check. If this is your first time here, the format of the Heat Check is: there's no roasting. There's no snapping. If you hear something from another producer and you don't like how it sounds, you want to help that producer, say, hey, let's try a different kick. Let's try a better kick. The melody is clashing. Let's try some hi-hats. You need to work on your mixes a bit. We want to give constructive, actionable feedback. This is not a place to snap. This is not a place to roast. This is not a place to play the dozens and just, you know, do all that stuff. This is a dojo. This is a place where producers sharpen producers. You know, whenever you're in a dojo or the boxing gym and, you know, the boxing coach is like, you know, keep your elbow up. You keep dropping your shoulder. That's what this place is for. We're here to build up other producers, not break them down. We're going to give it to you directly, but it's coming from a place of love and constructive criticism. So that's how we do it right here on the Heat Check. Also, just to let you know, I play about a minute and a half of each beat. So if you see me stop, pull things down around a minute and a half of the beat, that's not because I'm trying to cut you off. That's because that's the time limitation on each beat. It's about a minute and a half. Then we get into the actual review of everything. So yeah, like I mentioned before, make sure you guys go to DesmondASounds.com. I got some crazy FL Studio patcher plugins, man. These are crushing a lot of the paid plugins that you guys are being marketed to out there. I see them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, man. I'm telling you, a lot of them are capped. So if you don't want to waste your money on all that kind of stuff, go to DesmondASounds.com and get your free FL Studio patcher plugins and cook up some fire beats. I just want to see you win. Also, I have some amazing Afrobeat guitar loop packs. DesmondASounds.com. They are fire. None other. Real musicians. You know, we got to protect human art because AI is coming for us and it is not slowing down. So, want to put that out there. And also, free submissions are closed right now. However, if you do want to submit, and this is last minute submission, you can do DesmondASounds.com/VIP. That's how you buy a Skip the Line pass. and go ahead and get to the front of the line and I'll review your beat. If you don't want to do that, the free form is going to open after the live stream ends. Give me about 5 minutes and then I'll open the form and you'll see that in the description. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, looks like we got J-Zoe in the chat. Shout out to you, J-Zoe. Got your submission for this week, and I am glad to see you back here, my brother. Well, you've been here, but I'm glad to see your submission. So, yes, indeed. Yes, I got your beat, and we will get to that. We got a full house in the building tonight, so let's go ahead and get into FL Studio here. Let me make sure the display changes there. All right, perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get started. So, starting off, we have the first submission of the night coming from a producer named Hector. Hector's submission is called Lahi. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic. Then we're gonna take a listen to the beat. Then I'm gonna go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and do that. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Hector with Lahi. All right, Hector. Now, when I was listening to that beat, it really felt like you was taking me on an adventure. It didn't really feel like that beat was for an actual recording artist to get on. It almost felt like you were painting a picture with your instrumentation, like it could be some type of video game. And I don't mean that as an insult or anything like that. I just mean that that's the type of energy I got. Like, this music wasn't designed for a rapper or singer to get on. So let me know if I'm correct on that in the comments or in the live stream, live chat, if you are able to join us. Also, other than the beat not really being formatted for a recording artist, the other thing is that that lead sound that you had was a pretty loud. So let's try to balance that. Let's try to pull down that. Let's try to pull that down a bit. It caught me by surprise. It didn't really feel balanced. It didn't pull me into the beat. So shout out to you, Hector. Again, it's a bit of a strange, it's kind of difficult for me to judge this beat because it doesn't feel like it's formatted for an artist. But if you are deciding to get your music into film and things like that, video games, definitely keep at it. And also try putting your music to, if not like Sora AI generated videos, then you can take like, I don't know if that's gonna work. I was gonna say you can make like fake trailers of different video games, put your music on it, and then kind of shop that around to different people so that way they can get a picture of how your music can be placed. But shout out to you, Hector. Please continue to submit on the heat check. And one other thing, Hector, you also sent me another beat. However, that beat was in an FLP format. I need the music to be in MP3, WAV, some audio format. So moving forward, please submit all your submissions as audio formats. So shout out to you, Hector. Please continue to submit on the heat check. All right. I see J-Zoe. Let's see what's going on here. Is there to connect artists to promote your beat? Is there an artist? Is there a website to connect artists to promote your beat? J-Zoe, for me, so the question for anybody who can't see the chat, it says, is there a website to connect artists to promote your beat? That question is coming from J-Zoe. For me, that's always been BeatStars and then also some other social media platforms. So I would just post my beat on BeatStars and then use something like Instagram to get in contact with different recording artists. Like if I see a post from a recording artist, it's like, hey, that's a fire track. And then from there, reach out into the DMs, especially if your sound matches the artist sound. Y'all could just start building rapport from there. So that's really how I've gone about promoting beats to artists, especially online, is via BeatStars combined with another social media platform. So that's really how I've gone about doing it, at least somewhat in the recent years online, J-Zoe. Okay, perfect. And also, you say you need to get in contact with me, J-Zoe. You know, you have my email, contact@desmondabbeats.com. And also, whenever you submit for the heat check, you could just hit reply, and I will get back to you within 24 hours. All right. Moving forward, we have Lethal with that my boo. Sound like back when I was in the Dallas area. Sound like something somebody there would say. That my boo. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic. Then we're gonna listen to this track, and then I'm gonna give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Lethal with That My Boo. All right. Shout out to you, Lethal, and I appreciate you for submitting on this week's Heat Check show. Now, for that beat, the first thing was I enjoyed the intro. I, as a producer, liked the intro. It pulled me in. It built anticipation. It made me excited to hear what was going to come next. However, recording artists tend not to be as patient. So if we can trim that intro just a little bit and then we can get into the actual drop of the beat, that would be greatly appreciated. Another thing, and this is something that tends to happen on pretty much every heat check show, is I'm hearing your beat, the production is good, like you got great drums, the instrumentation sounds good, great use of a sample. Not everyone knows how to sample properly, but you do. But the issue that was happening is I'm hearing that digital distortion, meaning that your sounds are hitting the red. Either the individual sounds in the mixer are hitting the red, or your entire master is hitting the red. So in your mixer, we're just gonna be seeing all red if I was looking at your DAW. So what you can do is pull back, give yourself some headroom, give yourself some breathing room. So that way we're not hearing all that digital distortion, that breaky, not polished digital distortion. And the reason I emphasize this so much is because if we play that beat next to a beat that doesn't have that digital distortion, it's just gonna sound fuller, and it's gonna sound thicker. And what can happen is your beat with that quality drum selection, drum patterns, and everything is gonna sound good, but it's not gonna feel as big and as fully dimensional as it should. And then another person can play a beat right after yours. It's not as good, but it's not distorted, and it just has a whole bunch of space for the artist to write, rap, and sing to. And then you could be there confused, like, especially if you're in the studio with people, which is where I've seen this happen. And you could be like, okay, my beat was technically better, but that other person's was just like slamming, hitting the speakers. I can see the woofer shaking. So that's one of the biggest problems with that digital distortion issue. It's just gonna lack fullness and impact. So let's pull back on that. As a matter of fact, if you didn't know, I do have a course on my website. Just go to DesmondASounds.com. It's my first course called The Drum Doctor, and I have a section addressing that. It's called the Mastering Module. So check out the Mastering Module. If you do decide to get the Drum Doctor, that's on DesmondASounds.com. Go to courses, check out the Drum Doctor, and I'll be glad to help you out in that course. Other than that, what else with that beat? The beat itself was also a little bit busy. So if you're wanting an artist on it, definitely, I was trying to rap to it. I was trying to sing to it. I was having some issues just because the beat just felt a little busy. So if you're wanting to get this to an artist, let's try giving it a little more space. Maybe try muting a few sounds and rapping and singing to it out loud, and see if you have a lot more space. So that way they know that the beat isn't totally done. It needs their vocal on it to make it complete. So shout out to you, Lethal. I appreciate you for your submission, and please continue to submit on the heat check. All right, let's get to the chat. All right. The chat. It's intro. All right. Okay. So yeah, I might need to make a video about that then, J-Zoe, on my YouTube. It's talking about setting up your BeatStars and how you can use that to connect to different recording artists, rappers, and singers. So let me put that on my to-do list right here. Appreciate you. Promote on BeatStars. All right. Shout out. Okay. And it looks like, I think you make compression, J-Zoe. I might need to make a video on compression as well. Compression is a tricky subject, man. It is very tricky. Very tricky. It took me a long time to learn. It took me a long time to hear compression right, first of all. Especially when it comes to vocals. Oh, okay. Dang, can you use, I think you can use BeatStars with Stripe as well, J-Zoe. I think you can. I might be incorrect. I think there is an option with Stripe. I think I might be wrong. I might be wrong though. I might be wrong. All right. So moving forward, we're going to the next producer here, which is Imagery. Imagery, whole lot of red type beat. All right. Shout out to you, Imagery. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, then go ahead and play the beat, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Imagery with Whole Lotta Red Type Beat. All right, all right, all right. Now, Imagery. That was a good beat. Good beat. You left plenty of space for the recording artist to do their thing. That is a challenging thing for producers to do. I've had that issue for a long time. But fortunately, you don't have that issue. You left plenty of room. The artist knows that their voice is needed on this beat to create the song itself. So shout out to you on that. Great bounce, great sound selection. This is gonna be an easy beat for a rapper driving in their car with their ear pods on, freestyling, making a song to go to the studio and make the finished product. So one thing I was hearing is that 808 sounded good. It's that mid-rangey 808 that a lot of people use, and it's lacking sub. It's lacking real low sub. And a lot of producers tend to just listen for that mid-range saturation on their 808s, and it feels good and it sounds good, but it's not gonna hit that real low end. So what I want you to do is listen to your beat and then listen to a beat, let's just say, these beats are gonna be, of course, commercially mixed and whatnot, so don't try to get yourself this far, of course. But I believe Metro Boomin had a instrumental album come out a couple years ago. I believe you can find that on Spotify. Listen to those beats and listen to how much sub that's there in the low end. And once you hear that, you're gonna know that you need to dial in some sub to go with that hard mid-range bass. And that is the reason I created this right here, FLD Bass, which is a free patcher plugin for FL Studio users. So if you use FL Studios, you can get this on DesmondABeats.com, because I kept hearing this. So with FLD Bass, you can dial in some sub, just drive the sub, and then just sweep. So then this plugin is going to add in that low sub frequency. Some might say this is similar to R-Bass by Waves, allegedly. I don't know. But yeah, go ahead and give this a try if you are an FL Studio user, and see if you can dial in those real low sub frequencies, and make sure we get that low end to get those woofers shaking. So we want to do that. Let's see other feedback. On that turnaround, whenever you have the 808s go up, that doom is like a doom, doom, doom. watch that first 808. The first note of that 808 sounded like it might have been off key. So make sure you, that doom, 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 pitch it up high, pitch it up an octave. It's easier for the human ear to hear higher frequency sounds. So listen and see if it's in key. If it's in key, you're good to go. I think it might be off a semitone, but you go ahead and pitch it up and be the judge of that, because my spirit is telling me that that was off key. That first note, that doom, 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 then we need to fix that. But other than that, man, good beat. You're going to be able to get recording artists to get on that beat because you left a lot of space, man. So you will be good to go. So shout out to you, Imagery. Excuse me. Let me make sure. Yeah, Imagery. And I hope you continue to submit on the heat check. And it looks like you have another submission as well. Let me check the chat. Let's see here. Cleverlyon. Yes, doing beat reviews. However, the free submissions are currently closed. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel because as soon as I'm done with this live stream, I'm going to make a post on the YouTube community. So it's going to show up in your feed, letting you know you can submit for next Friday's show. So please subscribe, make that community post, and you can submit for next Friday's show. Or if you decide you want to skip the line, DesmondASounds.com/VIP. You can purchase a VIP pass to get on this week's show, and I'll put you right in the front of the line. So those are your options there, Cleverlyon. I want to see you on the beat check, Cleverlyon. So if you don't do it today, I want to see you next Friday. So shout out to you. All right, moving forward, we have the next submission by Imagery called Carson Type Beat. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. Then we're going to listen to this beat. Then I'm going to give my feedback. So let's take a listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Imagery with Carson Type Beat. Shout out to you, Imagery, man. I'm noticing that you have your own sound, man. That's really cool. You know, it takes a while to develop your own sound, and once you get it, man, it's a great feeling. That's a thing that people can start to come to you for. First of all, once again, great beat. That's a beat that's going to really go to those Cardi fans, Carson fans, Destroy Lonely fans, even Trippie Redd, those type of artists in that sub niche of hip hop music, really gonna gravitate towards that beat, and that should be once again another easy beat to get them to complete a song to, which is a great attribute to have. As far as constructive feedback, second of all, I love that turnaround, that kind of breakdown you did. It kind of gave me Metro Boomin, Future, Dirty Sprite 2 kind of vibes, the way those switch ups. Constructive feedback. Once again, I'm hearing whenever you had your 808 go up, an octave, I think it was about an octave, it sounded like it was off key once again, and it sounded like it was off key by a semitone. So watch that once again. If you can't quite tell, transpose your 808s up an octave. Listen, 808 is going to sound kind of like a bell. It's easier to hear a bell that's in key or not. And then, listen to that note, that ding. It sounds like it needs to go up a semitone. But once you do that, once you correct that, you'll be good to go. Also, the rhythm of the snare was good. I like the rhythm of the snare, but it sounded like you might have a little space in your waveform, like a little silence that's causing the snare to not quite hit on rhythm. So let's tighten it up. You might even need to slide slide your snare over just a little bit, just to get it hitting a little bit more on rhythm. I know this is kind of an unorthodox sound that you're going for, which is good, but let's tighten up the rhythm of the snare, like the timing, just a little bit. So just slide it over just a little bit and play the beat while you slide it, so you can keep it that ugly, pretty, and an artistic kind of vibe that you're doing, and just keep sliding it while you're listening to the beat. So don't do it in isolation. Don't do it solo. Listen to the beat, slide the snare over, and bam, you're gonna be like, "Ooh, he was right." So let's go ahead and do that, and then you'll be all good to go. So shout out to you, Imagery. Please continue to submit on the heat check. I'll be glad to assist you in your music production journey. All right, let's check out the chat here. All right. Do reviews. I spit some same bars about how much I hate kidney beans. Hilarious. No worries, man. Make the beat more interesting. So I'm gonna try to make the beat more interesting. Okay, yes, J-Zoe is correct. Jimmy, no songs. I might have to create a separate show for songs. I gotta check my schedule, so no promises. But yeah, no songs, just beats. So Jimmy, if you got some beats, send them over. Or you see the different producers here, right here in the list. You want some beats, go ahead and hit them up. Let them know Desmond sent you, and then y'all two form a relationship and create music together. This is for all of y'all. So connect with each other, network with each other, and build. This is what this is for. All right, moving forward, our next submission of the night, we have Akuma Beats, Money on My Mind. All right, Akuma Beats. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic, go ahead and listen to the beat and give my feedback. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Akuma Beats with Money on My Mind. Shout out to you, Akuma Beats. Please continue to submit on the heat check, and I'll be glad to help you out. So, constructive feedback. First thing, I can tell what phase you're at as a producer. You're not a beginner, you've been cooking up beats and you're getting there. I can hear the development. You're past that newbie stage. You're right at this other stage. You're developing. You're getting the steps in. So all you need is just some more support to help you level up even further. And I'm very excited for you on that. The first thing I heard on that beat was that kick. That kick didn't really have much body on it. It was just kind of hollow. There was no support on it. It just was. There's no thickness. There's no fullness on it, which tells me what you're making beats on. You may not be able to clearly hear what you're making beats on. So please invest in some good headphones, or if you can get some studio monitors, that would be even better. But if you can't do that, get some good headphones, either the Sony MDR 7506, I believe. So yeah, please invest in that so you can hear everything that's going on. Because also, I can hear that the bass, I couldn't really hear any low end on that bass at all. So let's fix your listening device. I believe that's really what's really holding you back. Other than that, I like your drum programming. I like where things are going. Once again, I can hear the development starting to happen. So keep making beats. Also, listen to producers who you admire, who are on a higher level, and then just listen to how they're making certain decisions and put that in your mental Rolodex, then add that to your beats in the future. So, don't copy, don't be a total biter, but just listen to how people are doing certain things. Add it to your mental Rolodex, and you'll be good to go. All right. So yeah, shout out to you, Akuma Beats, and I appreciate you for submitting, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. So let's take a look at the chat here. All right. I'm on the beat. Okay, Cleverlyon. Let me take a look here. Give me 1 second. Did you make the submission? Perfect. Cleverlyon. I see you here. I see you here. All right. So, got Cleverlyon submission here. Like you got the VIP pass. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Going to, let me make a note here. So I know my spot. All right, there we go. Cleverlyon. We're going to go ahead and drag you drop in here. I appreciate you for doing that and showing support. Here we go. VIP. Cleverlyon. All right. Here we go. All right, so let's get straight to Cleverlyon here. All right, so coming up, we have, let me make sure, got everything here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Cleverlyon with the VIP pass with experimental. So we're gonna go ahead and mute my mic, listen to this beat, and go ahead and give our feedback on this. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Cleverlyon with Experimental. All right, all right, all right. Now, Cleverlyon, that beat, it's a couple things I was hearing on that beat. And that title, Experimental, is very, very fitting for that. And I'll tell you why. So, okay, first constructive feedback was the intro. The intro, I just felt like I had a whole lot of, I was just hit with like a lot of wall of like stock sounds. It kind of felt like you were going through different sounds in your DAW. This is what you could get. And then you were like, okay, let me put this together. Instead of, this is something that I want everybody listening to also do. Take time to find certain sounds that you really like. So if there's certain bass patches that you really like, go ahead and favorite it. If you guys, whenever I play beats and stuff or slide stuff over on FL Studio, you're gonna see a lot of different favorite folders that I have. So find a list or try to create a short list of different sounds that you like. These are the bass sounds that I like. These are the keys that I like. These are the strings that I like. And I know as producers, we have so many options with all these different VSTs that constantly come out, but finding those sounds that you know sound good and sound good to you and also sound good together, it's really going to help you in the long run. For example, I've told this on my YouTube, the track that I did for Blue Da Vinci from BMF, the beat that I'd made, I had the main thing that captured him was the sound that I made. I made my own patch. It was this real interesting pad sound. It had all kinds of little weird vocals in it, and it caught your ear. And especially with this experimental vibe you're going with, take some time, find your own favorite sounds that you like. Also, kind of tweak and make your own sounds. Have like different sections of favorite sounds, so that way you're not reaching for totally stock sounds where I can instantly hear that this is what you grabbed for. Another piece of constructive feedback was I was hearing dissonance and I was hearing clashing notes, but it wasn't done in a way that I felt was intentional. Sometimes I do hear artsy, intentional dissonance or intentional notes not quite musically going together, and it kind of does it in an artsy kind of ugly, pretty kind of aesthetic kind of way. But I felt like at times we were slipping into, I'm falling out of key and I'm getting back in key, but I'm not doing this intentionally. So if you're wanting to prevent that moving forward, take some time to learn just basic music theory. I'm talking major chords, minor chords, major, minor scales. And then this is also another trick, is to listen to some of the songs that you really like and learn it on the keyboard. Like get the different YouTube tutorial videos and learn it on the keyboard, and you'll be shocked at how simple it is to make these really, really kind of powerful chords or powerful moves musically, how easy it is to do. On the surface, just using your ears, you might think, oh, it must be somebody who really knows what they're doing. Sometimes it could just be the moving of the finger from that last note down another half step on the piano. So please take some time, learn basic music theory, and then also start learning some of your favorite songs. And then I promise you, you're gonna start to notice things. You're gonna start to notice how uncomplicated it actually is. Another thing is, as the beat was going on and as the beat was progressing, I really felt like I couldn't really feel like this beat was for a recording artist. It almost felt like, once again, I'm getting like movie trailer kind of vibes or indie film kind of vibes. That's the kind of energy I was getting from this beat, especially as we progressed through. It felt like I was getting into, okay, Desmond, this needs to get into some type of indie film, some type of art house indie film, college student kind of vibes. So as we tighten up your sound, you could also possibly try doing that. Sometimes people might even like give you like a work for hire where they just buy the beat from you, or you guys work out some type of deal. Other than that, those really the main thing is I was feeling with that beat is that's really what I was drawing from that beat. All right, let's see. Cleverlyon, I'm learning. I am 3 months in, but the guitar stock. Better guitars. If your computer can handle it, Cleverlyon, I would definitely recommend Contact. Contact has some great sounds. I believe Contact also has like a subscription you can do through Native Instruments where they bill you monthly, then you get access to the whole arsenal. So you could do that. 3 months in. Yeah, keep going with the keyboard. Cleverlyon. Yes. And shout out to you, J-Zoe. You're learning music theory. Yes. Music theory, actually learning basic music theory actually made my ears just sharper. I can hear when something's in key or out of key just much easier. So, yes. So, Cleverlyon, let's get to your next beat here. We have Good Guy Drip. All right. Gonna go ahead and mute my mic. Cleverlyon with the VIP pass here. Good Guy Drip. Gonna go ahead and mute my mic and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
This is it, world. From now on, no more Mr. Good Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Cleverlyon with Good Guy, Drip with the VIP. So we went ahead and played the whole shindig. All right. Cleverlyon. So starting from the top, the first thing I noticed about that beat was once again that dissonance, the notes clashing in a way that didn't feel musical. Now, part of the reason why I mute my mic is because I start imitating different rappers and I start to see who could fit on the beat. I was getting kind of like an underground kind of feel to it. I started kind of, I don't want to say Eminem, but it's like kind of that grungy type of not politically correct kind of rap. That's what the energy of that instrumental kind of pulled out of me. And with that, you got close to the ugly, pretty sound, the dissonant in an artistic kind of way, where it's all coming together to paint this picture. You got close, but there were points where it just got too dissonant. The music, the instrumentation clashed a bit too hard for a rapper to really even continue on the path of songwriting on that beat. So once again, let's get some music theory going. Start learning certain songs that fit your lane of music. Thankfully, we have YouTube now that whatever song, whatever producers, whatever artists you want to produce for, you can find those songs on YouTube, find an excellent keyboard player, piano player to break things down to the molecule and then just show you how that song was put together. And then it's going to start to sharpen your ear. Then you're going to also know how to put things together a bit better. Good drum bounce. On that one, I really like the drum bounce. I was able to get into it, but once again, despite the drum bounce, that the instrumentation just was clashing just a bit too much. Another thing, you had these little vocal laughs and things like that in there. They were a bit too loud. Let's take them down a couple dB so that way it flows more. It was more like it pushed me out of the beat instead of pulling me into the beat. So let's pull it down a little bit and you will be good to go. So yeah, I see what direction you're trying to go in musically, and I think continued beat making, learning some music theory, and also critically listening to producers or artists who you want to produce for, listening critically to how they're putting things together. How are they putting the hook together? How are they putting the bells with their piano? You know, earlier today, I was listening to a lot of Dr. Dre's stuff, and I was just listening to how wide open his beats are. And I was like, whoa, it's not much going on in this beat, but it sounded so good. But I was listening super critically into what was going on. I was listening to the panning. I was listening to what instruments were there. I was listening to the effects that were added. So not only listen as a music fan, but kind of put on your music scientist hat and then just really listen like, okay, I see that. I see what's going on there. So you can really dissect things. So yes, I see what direction you're going in. So if we can implement these steps, just keep going. You're going to keep growing over time. So, all right, let me take a look here at the chat. All right, Cleverlyon, I'll check that out. Let the beat just need the right beats to bring into the situation. Yes. No, okay. Okay. Okay, Cleverlyon, you're in FL Studio. I thought you were using that boo bass in FL Studio on the first beat. I think that's, you may have been using that BOO bass. Once again, another good bass is coming from Contact. So if you can invest in Contact, then get the I believe it's called Scarby Library in Contact. Yeah, Scarby Library in Contact. Once again, that comes with a native instrument subscription. with have to use less chords for a beat, I think. Possibly Cleverlyon. That's a possibility, but I think of the overall finished product more so. So with that, try to rap or try to sing over your beats and just see if you can fit anywhere. Sometimes it's just rapping or singing your a favorite verse that you have. Sometimes I just straight up mumble, you know. Sometimes I freestyle. Like, listen to your voice over your own beat, and that's gonna also help you shape how you do things. I do that especially when I'm doing like R&B beats. They require a lot of space and for all the vocal harmonies and everything like that. So I'll just sing. I might sing whoever's song on top of that just to make sure I have enough space. And often I'm still muting stuff. So that's another tip or trick that you can do. Cleverlyon is rap, sing out loud, not in your head. You got to do it out loud. That's why I mute my mic, because I want to give y'all guys the full value. So do it out loud. Don't do it in your head. Do it out loud. You have to hear it. Then when you do that, it's going to help you make better decisions as far as arrangement. So shout out to you, Cleverlyon. Well, Cleverlyon, you come to the right place. Cleverlyon, if you go to DesmondASounds.com, you will find a free guide I have called 7 Steps to a Better Beat Mix. You can get that free PDF, and that's going to help you out with your mixing. Also, I've just created my new course called The Drum Doctor. You can check that out at DesmondASounds.com as well. That goes over mixing as well. So check those 2 things out, the free PDF guide and or the course, and that's going to help you out in your music production journey. You are very much welcome, Cleverlyon. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you for submitting, and I appreciate you for the VIP submission. So please continue to submit. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. A lot of good information, and I'm going to keep helping you out right here on the Heat Check. All right, so shout out to Cleverlyon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward to our free submissions, we have G Major with Mecca 80. All right, gonna go ahead and play this beat by G Major. Then I'm gonna mute my mic, and then we're gonna give our feedback. So let's go ahead and do that now.
You remember that, motherfucker? 'Cause I'm the one y'all need to be worried about. Okay. Come on, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was G Major with Mecca 80. Now, G Major might have been spying on some of these heat checks. You know, I'm partial to that soul kind of sound right there. You know, it's kind of my lane that I like. One of my lanes that I like on top of R&B, all music, but kind of partial to those kind of sounds. I actually know what sample you use at a certain part. I'm not gonna snitch on you. I am not a sample snitch, but I did smile because I know what sample that was, and it fits the vibe that you were going for. Because what I was thinking when I heard this beat, it just reminded me of that Jay-Z American Gangster, that era of Jay-Z, that mafioso kind of vibe, that period. I was thinking of producers like Sean C and LV who produced on American Gangster. That's kind of who came to mind in my head. I was thinking of that style of production. So yeah, you nailed that sound. Something tells me that you've been doing that sound for a minute. You have a polished sound. As far as constructive feedback, this is going to be nitpicky. This is going to be a nitpicky piece of feedback, but you submitted for a live beat review show. I like the analog. I like that gritty sound. I like it. Let's try adding just a little bit of modern polish, just a little bit of modern snap, just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, you could go totally in the Alchemist kind of vibe, that kind of pocket, which is totally fine. But I think let's try adding just a little bit of that modern snap to it. Just a little bit. One thing you could do is just, for it to not have too much of that analog sound, you could try stacking some of your sounds with like newer drum kits, like add your gritty snare with another snare and just stack them together just so they kind of snap harder and kind of cut through the speaker just a little bit. That's the only thing I was hearing, just like a little bit of upper mid shine, upper mid polish that modern beats tend to have. But once again, this style is in that nostalgic kind of lane, so it'll be fine. But any constructive piece of feedback I can think of would just be that. Try to get a little modern snap to it, if you can. But yeah, shout out to you. That's you know, fire beat. You know, try to get that to somebody like Dave East or something. Just DM him. You know, I've seen an engineer that I've ran across made a post, mentioned Dave East, and then Dave East was in the comments. So Dave East is on Instagram. Hit up Dave East. I think he would fit this beat and see what you guys come up with. So shout out to you, G Major. Please continue to submit on the heat check, and I'll be glad to help you out on your music production journey. Checking out the chat. All right. J-Zoe's been using Arcade. I tried out Arcade for a little bit. I need to try it again. I may not have given it a fair shake. So yeah, I'll give Arcade another look. Oh, looks like G Major, you have another submission. So this is G Major's second submission of the night. This one is called Percy. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic. We're gonna take a listen, and I'm gonna give you my feedback right here on the heat check. So let's take a listen.
Look, you know who I am. You know me 30 years. You know what I would do. You know how I operate. You keep quiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was G Major with Percy. Shout out to you, G Major, and thank you for submitting on the heat check. Like I mentioned earlier on your previous submission, G Major, you have a certain sound. You got that. I can see in my head like the picture that you're painting with your instrumentals, man. It almost feels like that one could even possibly be in a beat battle because you had so many things going on with the turnarounds. I like the beat, of course. Had a lot of nod factor. You know the artist that I was hearing when I heard that beat, G Major? I was actually hearing Jid. So Jid out here from Atlanta, I was hearing Jid's voice on that. So, you know, I gave you Davies. Hit up Jid, and you never know what could happen. But yeah, I was hearing Jid's voice on it. I think he would fit on a beat like that. As far as constructive feedback, one thing I was hearing in that beat is it felt like whenever you got things really at the climax of the beat, things were getting louder and louder. It sounded like your instrumental might have been hitting the red in your DAW that you're using. I was hearing a little bit of digital distortion breakiness. So let's watch that. Even though we are getting excited, we are getting things up to a climax, a higher level. Let's still watch the meter in our DAW so we're not having digital distortion kind of pull the listener out of the beat a little bit. You might want to try using a limiter, something like, my favorite limiter is, you can use stock limiters, those are fine, but you might want to even try something like Ozone Maximizer. That's my favorite limiter. You can limit your beat, get it loud, and it also even has a soft clipper in there if you want to add additional clipping. Sometimes some people want to do that, but you can do that as well. But yeah, I would recommend trying using Ozone Maximizer to control things hitting that red, because I believe I heard that whenever things got exciting. Another thing I was hearing is that bass. The bass had really good tone. The beat had a lot going on. Despite the beat having a lot going on in a good way, that bass felt like it started to get a little bit buried in the lower mid. The lower mid to even kind of getting into the, I don't want to say sub frequencies, but just the lower mid and the bass frequencies felt like it could have had a bit more presence. So, and that could go to why I was hearing some digital distortion, because if you don't have much headroom, then you won't have much room to have the bass be present, because bass takes up more energy in the beat. So once we pull down some of the faders in your DAW, we can possibly get the bass to be a bit louder, and then you can even maybe use an EQ to push up some of the subs on it, or the bass on it, and just have it a bit more present, a bit thicker. I'm trying to think of a beat that sounds like, listen to somebody like Bink's production. I know you're familiar with someone like Bink. Listen to Bink's production. Listen to how he has those live bass guitar sounds. Sometimes they are patches, but sometimes they're live bass guitar players, but sometimes they're just patches and Bink's DAW. And listen to how present Bink's bass is, despite him having the sample and the sample drums, and listen to how he's still able to keep that bass present. So you can use that as a reference to get that bass to that point, and I think that's just gonna have much more impact and much more soul, and just grab us and pull us into the beat more, because that beat has so much potential. So yeah, shout out to you, G Major. I appreciate you for submitting on the heat check and bringing back those classic vibes that I remember. So yes. All right, checking out the chat. All right, Arcade is nice. All right, another cosign for Arcade. I might give me something to do this weekend, man. I might have to check out Arcade. I might have judged it. To me, I looked at Arcade and I was like, it's kind of doing too much. What is this? You know, Kind of acted like an old man when I saw Arcane, but I'll give it another try. All right, moving forward, we have Money Matt with Night Talk. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic. We're gonna take a listen to Night Talk by Money Matt and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Money Matt. That was Money Matt with Night Talk. Shout out to you, Money Matt. Man, you guys have been studying the heat check because you guys know what I'm partial to. We go from soulful hip hop to straight up R&B, borderline 90s R&B. Y'all have been studying the show just like, man, I'm gonna get brownie points. I'm gonna send him this one. That's what it sounds. That's what it feels like. But I'm messing around. So yeah, Money Matt, Night Talk. That was a good beat. Gave me classic vibes. Gave me just put me back in that zone. It just felt like, you know, that old school R&B. Walking through the park, you know what I mean? Those BT, MTV, you know, that kind of era that I grew up in, got a lot of my musical taste from. As far as constructive feedback, that was a very musical beat. I liked it. You may have to either pull down some of those, either one or two of those instruments, just one or two of those instruments, or totally mute it, just so we have a little bit more space for the songwriter to do their thing. I could still sing on it. I could still write to it. Not an entire song. I'm not a full-blown songwriter. But if we could just have a little extra space, we can really slam dunk the songwriter being like, ooh, I want this one, as opposed to, I think I could do something to this. Ooh, I feel like I could do something to this. To, oh, I know I could do something to this. We might have to mute like one sound or just pull it down and just tuck it all the way in. So, Money Matt, what I want you to do is I want you to listen back to this beat, do what I did, just start singing out loud, sing if you have enough space, sing if you have enough room, mute a sound, sing to it. And if you feel like this is something I've heard from Ken Lewis, one of Kanye's engineers. Mute a sound, and if you feel like you're not missing something, then you're good. But if you mute a sound and you feel like you're missing something, try singing to it. And when you sing to it, if it feels complete, then you're good to go. So you filled up that space. So I'm just thinking of, from a songwriter's perspective, having that wide open lane. And I mean, totally wide open lane to write the lead vocal, the harmonies, the ad-libs. Let's just kind of watch that just a little bit, and I think we'll be good to go. But yeah, overall, great beat, slam dunk. You know, I could tell you've been cooking for a while. So shout out to you, Money Matt. All right, Chef P, shout out to you. Thank you for joining the Heat Check. Chef P, new submissions are closed for this evening. However, you have two options. One, you can go ahead and purchase a VIP pass, DesmondASounds.com/VIP. You'll go there, purchase a Skip the Line link. Purchase a Skip the Line pass. We'll go ahead and kick you up to the next submission, and then we'll go ahead and review your beat. If you don't want to go with option one with the VIP pass, you can go with option two, which is after this stream closes, the free submissions will open for next Friday's show. And I'll make a YouTube community post so that way you know when to submit. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to make a community post, and then you can, of course, submit for next Friday's show when you see that community post. So you have those two options, purchase VIP pass or submit for next Friday's show after this live stream ends. So shout out to you, Chef P. I hope to see you on the Heat Check. I'm going to be on the lookout for you, man. I'm going to hold you to it. So I want to see you on the Heat Check, Chef P. I'll be glad to give you some great feedback. All right, moving forward. Oh, let's see here. I forgot I was multi-streaming. Let me take a look here if I've been ignoring anybody. Oh, man, sorry. My bad. Jiffy Limpy 5991. I apologize for that, man. I was all in my YouTube chat. I apologize. I need to have my multi-chat here in OBS. I won't miss you. Sorry, Jiffy Limpy, if you're here, man. Oh, man. Let me see if I can get in contact with you, Jiffy Limpy. I want to see you on the Heat Check. Sorry for all this, the Twitch viewers. I will do better next time. I should have been looking at both chats instead of just YouTube. So, moving forward, we have another submission of the night by Money Matt. This one is called Hit the Gas. So, I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, take a listen to Money Matt, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Oh, shout out to you, Chef P. I appreciate you for subbing. All right, let's go ahead and take a listen.
Ride, swerve, now hit the gas, hit the brake, now swerve, now hit the
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Money Matt with Hit the Gas. All right, shout out to you, Money Matt, and I appreciate you for submitting on the Heat Check. Second submission of the night. First of all, good beat, instant club banger. You know, you knew how to put that together. I could hear all the sounds were nice and tight. You didn't let your drums ring out. You know how to keep things nice and tight and in pocket is what I'm saying. And that's a great skill to have because it takes a while for producers to even catch that. Are my drums tight? Is it creating enough tension? You knew how to create tension by taking the sounds out and just doing those drops. So shout out to you. I was actually hearing somebody like Big X the Plug on that beat. And for some reason, Duro, I got very Dallas vibes. I'm from the Dallas area, a place called Arlington, Texas. And those that there was an era where we all had those sounds in our beats and all the clubs, street hits in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that's part of the reason why I heard somebody like Big X the Plug on it, because it has a lot of space and it has that classic Dallas vibe. So, hey, you never know, man. These artists are very accessible, way more accessible than they were back in the day. So you never know. Hit up Big X the Plug and see what happens. One piece of constructive feedback that I was hearing on that beat, that 808, I was hearing the 808 had this rough texture on it. It's like right in the mid range. It's like this rough distortion that sounds like it was probably added, and to me it sounded a little harsh. I don't think it's gonna stop an artist from wanting to use this beat, but if you just want it to be a bit more smooth, let's try either dialing back that harsh distortion that you have on that 808. You can even try dialing in a different sounding distortion in that 808, just so it sounds just less rough. To me, it just sounded kind of like jagged. Let's try. You can first start using your EQ to kind of dial out the roughness of that 808. And if you do that and it sounds like the 808 is just too soft for the energy that you're going for, try dialing in some distortion and seeing if you can just get smoother distortion, more musical distortion. I don't want to over promote this plugin, but it is free. DesmondASounds.com FLD bass. It's another reason why I made this free FL Studio Patcher plugin, because here we have different types of distortion. We have a preamp distortion, hard clip distortion with a low pass filter, so we can have our 808s distorting but still keeping it musical. So we can make it harsh, then we can smooth it out, and then if we feel like our subs start to get lost, we can dial in the sub and the drive and just start to sweep and just get our bass and get our 808 right there. So if you use FL Studio, check out FLD Bass, available DesmondASounds.com, and it's 100% free. So no cost to you. I'll be glad to help you out with that plugin. But other than that, this is a club banger. You already know. So just get this beat out to different artists and you'll be good to go. So shout out to you, Money Matt. Appreciate the submission, and I want to continue to see you on the heat check. All right, moving forward. First, let me check out the chat here. Chef P, checking out some questions here. Chef P, I've been producing for over 12 years. Producing in different hats of producing, beat making, producing, and also producing, making a beat in front of artists, mixing songs with artists, mixing full songs, coaching artists through the song. So there's some controversy. Some people have, when they say producing, some people think beat makers and producers are different. I don't want to blur those lines. So I've been doing both of those. Yes, Drakeo. Shout out to you, Drakeo. Ice Cream Paint Job. Yes, I remember when Ice Cream Paint Job came out. Yes, it brings back a lot of memories. And he had those elements, and I think other rappers are going to hear those elements, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and also check out Louisiana artists. Also, Money Matt, Louisiana artists might also be partial to those sounds as well. So might get you some connections going on, man. So you never know. Just putting that out there. So, all right, moving forward, we have Millz OTB with Bloodhound. So gonna go ahead and listen to this beat, play this beat, mute my mic, and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead. We have Millz OTB right here on the heat check.
Millz OTB.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millz OTB with Bloodhound. All right, thank you for submitting Millz OTB. Now my feedback on that beat. Once again, you're another producer where I can feel and I could hear your phase. I can hear the phase that you're at as a producer. Definitely not a beginner. You've been working at beats. You've been doing this. You're developing. I can hear you developing. One of the things that was standing out to me about that beat was that stock piano sound. Once again, a lot of those stock sounds, some of them are really good, but some of them just have that lack of polish, lack of professional studio sound that kind of, it makes it clear that it's not a high quality piano sound. So let's work on that. That piano sound, let's try using something like, if you can get it somehow, Keyscape. If you can get something like Omnisphere. I'm able to find some pretty decent pianos in Omnisphere. I can't speak for everyone else. Most people go for Keyscape and is it called Addictive Pianos? Addictive Keyboard, Addictive Pianos? I forgot the name of that one. But something called Addictive, and it has something to do with pianos. Those are also two VSTs that have really good high quality piano sounds. And I believe Contact should have good piano sounds as well. Once again, that's with Native Instruments subscription. You can get that. More feedback. The kick was a bit too hard. It felt like you were using like some type of wave shaper, possibly, to just crank that kick and just make it snap a little bit too much. But ultimately, I think the issue with that beat was just volume balancing. The sub was just way too prominent and dominant on the beat. We need to pull that back. I think the best way to do that, the entire process, would just be to, I mentioned anchor sounds, like you can use your kick as an anchor sound, possibly your snare as an anchor sound, meaning the point that you know where everything is at. So you constantly know that your kick is at, let's just say, negative 12 dB, and then you get all your sounds back into your beat, and you know where your kick is. So your kick, you're never gonna play with the volume slider on the kick, because you know it's gonna just stay right there. And they got all the rest of your sounds in there. Vibe with it, feel good with it. Then add your piano sound, vibe with it, feel good with it. Then add your bass sound, just pull it up, vibe with it, feel good with it. So kind of take your time using your mixer to get the volume balance right. Then you're gonna be like, okay, I know what he's talking about. Now things fit together a bit better. We just need to balance everything. Other than that, I was able to rap to that beat. And I actually used the word bloodhound in the hook. That's another thing for all the producers out there. What you name your beat can also be what the artist uses to create their song. So I was just rapping bloodhound, and I added other lyrics to the hook. So got producers, don't try not to totally rush the naming of your beat, because I've had a couple of artists name the actual song the name of my beat. Other than that, I heard a couple of points where I felt like we weren't totally musically together, like as far as the key. So also practice music theory just a little bit, maybe just a couple basic songs that you really like. Just start to sharpen up your ears. Do your major chords, your minor chords. Practice some songs that you really like. It's just gonna make your ears sharper. You're gonna know to just pull this down a little bit, push the song up, push this note up a little bit, and you'll be good to go. So other than that, great energy, great vibe, but there's just a couple of things there. But what was keeping me from really making a song to it was there's certain points where the key just fell off, like musically it fell off. So let's work on that, and you'll be all good to go. But keep going. I can tell that you're developing, you're grinding, you're practicing, and you are getting there. So shout out to you, Millz OTB. Now it looks like you have another submission here. First, let me take a look at the chat. Let's see what we got going on. Cleverlyon, I love it. Let's freestyle. Exactly, J-Zoe. J-Zoe's freestyling too, yes. All right. I always know a stock instrument. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I missed anything. Hi-hat snare, send back to hi-hat snare, no life. Yeah, Chef P. So Chef P is also talking about essentially volume balancing. I love it. Yeah, best way to kick loud. See, Chef P, that's something where, so Chef P made the statement, the best way to get a kick loud is to cut all the sub and boost at 100 hertz. Things like that kind of hurt me in the beginning of my music production career, because when I started, we didn't really have YouTube. We just have different producer message boards. So information like that would get passed around, and then a lot of people would do it. So Chef P, I would first say, as far as getting the kick loud and everything like that, is everything is different and everything starts from the source material. So we really need to hear what the original sound sounds like, and then from there we can go about shaping everything else. But yeah, as far as just general broad statements like that, I'm sure it's like information that I see it on even different producer. I've seen major producers even pass around information like that. But it's not correct. And that's something I'm super grateful that one of my engineering mentors, when I moved to Atlanta, sat me down and showed me, like, okay, no, this is how we do it. It gave me a lot of good game on volume balancing, EQ, and everything like that. So, yes. And speaking of that, I'm not trying to shamelessly promote, but I did create this course for you guys called the Drum Doctor. So A lot of the skills that I came from engineering mentors. So go to DesmondASounds.com, check out the Drum Doctor. Gonna give you a lot of good game on mixing your beats, mixing your drums, everything like that. So DesmondASounds.com, look for the Drum Doctor course on the website, and you'll be all good to go. All right, moving forward, another submission by Millz OTB with Cairo. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then give our feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Millz OTB.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Millz OTB with Cairo. All right, shout out to you, Millz OTB. You know what, Millz OTB? You know what I'm hearing when I hear that beat? I hear something that's more developed. And what that tells me is that you've been making those styles of beats more often. So the other beat might have been something you were dabbling with, but this beat is something that you've done a lot, and that's why you knew how to put the sounds together so much better. I love that sub that you had in there. That bass, that sub. I've been thirsty for subs all night, man. You know, I heard that sub bass and that sounded really good. Not only that, the drum bounce was good. You knew how to put what where. That's the style that you've polished over time, and it's obvious to me. So yeah, so shout out to you. You know, keep doing it, keep developing your sound. If you want to experiment with other sounds like you possibly did with the first beat, but that second beat is a slam dunk. You do that a lot. As far as feedback on that beat, the only thing I could think of on that beat was possibly the tempo. I'm thinking I was freestyling to it, I was rapping to it. I was hearing like Ice Spice on it, or some of the UK drill guys. So it's kind of imitating that. And let's try possibly even like 2 BPMs, push it up 2 BPMs, and then just listen back, freestyle to it. See if you like the energy a bit more if you push up the BPMs just a little bit, and see what kind of vibe you get. Oddly enough, you could push up the BPM, see what you like, see if it sounds better with 2 BPMs up. And also try slowing it down, say 3 BPMs, see if it sounds better even slower. So it's kind of like right in the middle. Experiment with it faster, then experiment with it slower, and then see what you like. Right there with the tempo, I was trying to catch the bounce totally. I kind of felt like just a little bit could have been tweaked there as far as the tempo. But other than that, man, that was a polished sound, man. So shout out to you, Millz OTB. Let's see here. Yes, shout out to you, Millz OTB. I appreciate you for submitting on the heat check. Please continue to do so, and I'll be glad to help you out on your music production journey. All right, let's take a look here at the chat. All right. You got Drakeo in the building showing love. Chef P, I will see you next Friday, Chef P. All right. All right, moving forward, we have J-Zoe on the beat with Boogeyman. All right, ladies and gentlemen, J-Zoe on the beat right here on the heat check with Boogeyman. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play the beat, then we're going to go ahead and give our feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
J-Zoe on the beat, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was J-Zoe on the beat with Boogeyman. Shout out to you, J-Zoe. Thank you for submitting on the heat check. Now, the first thing I was hearing on that beat, J-Zoe, was it's like the direction of the beat. Like first, I felt like we were going into a Florida. I don't necessarily want to use this person's name, but I will. But Bossman D-Lo kind of sound. I was like getting those kind of vibes, like getting into that Bossman D-Lo kind of vibes, production wise. But then as the beat progressed through, I started to get more, started to run into more like East Coast vibes, kind of more, kind of like those darker, eerier, like street kind of tones. So it's like we started with a nice bounce, then we started adding those choirs and things of that nature that just pushed us into the East Coast. So for me, I would say with that beat, kind of figure out a direction. Do you want it to lean more towards the Florida vibe? You know, I was hearing how you was doing the hi-hats and everything like that, the panning, all that was good. I felt like this beat could have been more Florida if you muted a lot of the sounds in the beat, like all the pad sounds, those string sounds that were going on. We could just strip it down, make it bare bones, and then just go straight Florida without adding those eerier, darker sounds, taking us to more like East Coast, that kind of feel. So yeah, my main suggestion for that beat would be to mute some sounds, because also I kind of felt like the sounds started to like blur together, like all those pad sounds kind of started to mush together. And a good way to prevent that, especially with this beat that I was hearing, would be just to mute them. Go straight Florida, you know, mute those sounds, freestyle to the beat out loud. We don't have to have it grow into the more kind of getting into like a lot of sounds as we were getting later in the beat. You could strip it bare bones, straight bounce. You have that wow, that bass sound, that wow bass sound. I hear in a lot of Florida stuff. Just keep it straight Florida. Mute those sounds, go straight Florida, and let me know. Let me know if you enjoy the direction a bit more there. Let's see. Yes, so those are my notes. I say make this beat straight Florida, mute those pad sounds, freestyle to it. You know how to rap, J-Zoe. Freestyle to it, and just let's go straight Florida. Those other sounds, pads and stuff was taking me to the East Coast. I want to go straight Florida. So shout out to you, J-Zoe. Appreciate you for submitting on the heat check. Yeah, because I was just hearing that it just started to get busier. We could just mute it, man. Just mute those sounds and we'll be good to go. All right, shout out to you, J-Zoe. Thank you for submitting on the heat check, and I'll be glad to help you out on any musical submissions that you have. Appreciate you, J-Zoe. Appreciate you. All right. Moving forward, we have, and guys, don't jump off the stream. I want to show you guys this. I'm working on something, so don't jump off the stream at the end. Gonna play something. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have our next submission of the night, which is CreatedInsideJupiter with Juicy. All right. Gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen together. Ladies and gentlemen, that was CreatedInsideJupiter with Juicy. Shout out to you, CreatedInsideJupiter. Thanks for submitting on the heat check. Please continue to submit and I'll be glad to help you out. Now, the feedback for you, CreatedInsideJupiter. First, you know what producer I felt like the direction you were going in? This reminded me of the Alex the Kid era of music production. If you guys remember Alex the Kid, that dude took over music for a while. He did a lot of stuff with like Eminem, Skylar Grey, Eminem and Skylar Grey. His name was Alex the Kid, man. And I felt like you were going into that direction that, I believe he did the Love the Way You Lie by Rihanna too. I think that was Alex the Kid. But it felt like you were going into that direction of the Alex the Kid style production. But I felt like you needed to tighten up some things. First, I was hearing the drum groove. The drum groove felt a little too loose. We need to tighten up the drum groove to have something a bit more a bit more rhythmic to pull us in. The instrumentation felt a little repetitive, but repetitive can be okay if we were able to still create some type of tension somehow. Also, when the beat went forward even more, it felt like there was a switch up. You try to add a kick into the beat, and it felt like there wasn't really much room for the kick. So you just push the kick all the way up in your mixer, and that kick is probably, if not hitting red, it's close to hitting red because you didn't have any more space in your beat, and it felt like the kick was just overbearing, and it took over the beat, and it didn't feel balanced. So I would say CreatedInsideJupiter, continue to produce. Listen to Alex the Kid's production and listen to how he puts things together. Alex the Kid hasn't been around for a while, but you could just YouTube his stuff and just listen to how he plays things together. It feels like that could be a person you could reference to how you can put your beats together. Continue to make beats, reference other producers, and listen to the structure of other producers' beats as well, and just listen to how they're able to switch things up, arrange things, and keep the beat sound interesting without doing too much. So listen critically to producers who you aspire to be like. Don't just enjoy the beat, enjoy the music, and say, dang, that's fire. You know, I'm a music fan too. I know it's easy to do that, but listen critically so you can get arrangement tips, and you'll be all good to go. Created inside Jupiter. Also, we just need to balance some of your sounds as well too. Just volume balance. But continue to submit, and I'll continue to help you out right here on the Heat Check. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look here. Miami is always busy. I've been to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I have not been to Miami though. Miami, I just see stuff like, I just think of Lamborghinis when I think of Miami. I know it's a lot more than Lamborghinis. It's just what they show us on YouTube and stuff like that. So, appreciate everyone for submitting on the Heat Check this Friday. Shout out to all the producers who submitted on today's show. I wanted to show you guys something here, though. I'm going to show you guys something here. Is this the right one? I'll make sure you guys can actually see this. I got to reopen FL Studio. Oh, you guys can see that. Okay, so I am working on a loop pack. A new loop pack is coming out. Yes, I'm working on a new loop pack coming out soon. I haven't came out with a loop pack in a while, so I'm gonna be coming up with one here soon. Should be done October. Should be done this month. Should be done this month. If not late October, then early November. And I just wanted to play a little bit of the loop pack right here. Not of the loop pack, sorry. So the other day I was listening to some of the loop pack. So I have my piano here, then I had a flute player play on top of the piano, and then I was on my way to the gym, and then I just got into the groove of things. I was like, oh, let me just add some drums to it, make a beat to it. So I was just gonna play that for you guys real quick. Just kind of got in the mood, got in the spirit. So I'll play the piano and the flute, and then I just listen to all the drums I added to it. So you can get an idea of the flavor, the style that the loop pack is gonna be in. So yeah, that's just a little sample of one of the loops that we're making. My piano player had the flute player. That just got caught up in the spirit. I just added those drums, have some fun before I went to the gym. So kind of got like Rick Ross vibes, Benny the Butcher vibes on that beat. I just need to add a bass line and that'll be good to go. But I'll probably just have that as like a sample beat on my website for the loop pack whenever it's done, so people can get a feel of what the loops sound like whenever you put them in a beat. So the loop pack is gonna be piano and flute, and that's just gonna be the theme of it. It's gonna be piano, flute, real musicians. You know, AI is coming, and a lot of loop makers may not want to use real musicians, but I am fighting the good fight, working with real musicians, real flute players, real everything to try to keep it going, you know. So yeah, that loop pack should be done once again late October, early November, and yeah, that'll be it. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for checking out the Heat Check right here live on YouTube and Twitch. I missed another Twitch chat, so apologize, Jiffy Limpy. Jiffy Limpy, please find your way to YouTube and subscribe so I cannot miss your chats. All right, so yeah, thank you everyone for joining the Heat Check. Once again, we will be here next Friday giving live beat reviews. So make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel to see the announcement where you can submit for next Friday's show. Be glad to help everybody out. Everybody make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com to get everything that you need in your music production journey. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the Heat Check so we can continue to help and grow this thing. So yes, and it's probably one of our longest shows here, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, another great Heat Check show. Shout out to all the producers, and I am out of here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Great show, everyone. Thanks for your submissions. Current loop packs, get it at DesmondASounds.com. New loop pack on the way. I'll blast it everywhere. Thank you, everyone. Have a great and safe weekend, and I will see you next Friday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Heat Check.